In this lesson, we are going to learn how to make animation in After Effects. So let's create a new composition, name it my first animation. And rest of the settings are okay for me. Now let's create a shape. I am going to draw a square. Hold down shift to make it perfect square and also hold down space bar to position it while drawing as we have done before. Grab the selection tool. Now a shape layer has been added to our timeline. Every layer in timeline has some common properties like position, scale, rotation, and some others. But shape layers has two types of properties. One is for particular type of shape and other is layer property. As we have drawn a rectangle, so here it's showing it in user content section. Let's expand it by clicking on this tiny arrow. Here we have a set of properties which is particular for rectangle shape. These properties will get changed for other types of shapes. Now let's collapse it and expand layer properties. These are layer properties and will be same for each layer, either it's any shape or image or video or any Illustrator or Photoshop file. So in the beginning, we will focus on the layer properties only. In position, we have two values which have ability to move object in x and y axis. First value will move it along x-axis and second value will move it along y-axis. And by using scale property, we can scale object and can make it bigger or smaller. If you notice, we are changing one value and it's automatically changing the second one. This is because we have linked constraint proportion. Let's unlink it. Now you can scale object in x and y axis individually. Let me undo that and link my constraint proportion again. By rotation property, we can rotate object in both sides. And here, first value determines the loop cycle. It means when we rotate object to 360 degrees, it will set its value to 1. So let's increase our rotation above than 360 degree. And here we go. As soon as it will cross 360 degrees, it will automatically count one loop and make second value to 0. So by seeing its value, we can understand how much time will an object rotate. Let me undo that. Last property is opacity. It will change transparency of the object. Now let's have a look on the anchor point. Notice we have a point in the center of the object. This is the anchor point. If we change anchor point's position here, it will move object around the anchor point instead of moving the anchor point itself. So to change the anchor point's position, we have to use this pan behind tool. You just need to pick this anchor point and drag it to your desired position. Now if we rotate the object, it will rotate around the anchor point. So let's set it to the right middle side. Now it will rotate around a new direction. Let's place it to the center. To make sure either the point is in the center or not, while dragging it, just hold down Ctrl key on keyboard and it will automatically snap it to the center or the corners. And always remember, you must hold Ctrl key once you have started dragging, otherwise it will start to move the object. Now it's time to understand animation. So let's first animate position. I am going to move it to the left side. Now we need to set keyframes to animate the object. So here we have a small circle-like icon, which is actually a stopwatch. Just click on it and it will automatically add a keyframe on the timeline. What this keyframe will do? It will just retains the current position of the object. Now move the playhead to the next position. It depends on how long animation you want. In my case, I want to cover in between distance in just 3 seconds. Now go to the position and move it to the right side. As soon as you move it, you will notice it will add a new keyframe automatically. Actually, once a keyframe is added, then you don't need to add more keyframes manually. After Effects will add them by a slight change in that parameter. Now this keyframe will hold the new position of the object. If we go to the first keyframe, it will show the first position and last keyframe will show the last position. And if we move our playhead, it will start moving from left to right. Notice the path here. Object is moving on this straight path. It is called motion path. We will discuss about motion paths later in this course. So After Effects will generate in between keyframes automatically. Now look on the timeline. We have a green line here, but it's disappeared before 2 seconds. Green line indicates that graphic is rendered and ready to preview in real time. And if green line doesn't appear, it means graphic is not rendered and it will take jugs in the playback. We will discuss more about RAM previews in further lessons. Press spacebar to preview it. Okay, object is animating well. Since it's a very small animation, so it has been played very smoothly. Play it once again. Very well. Let's make one more type of animation. So I am going to hide this layer just by clicking on this eye. Collapse it. Take the text tool and click on the screen. Now it has added a text layer on our timeline. I am going to type After Effects. Grab the selection tool. Now let's move it to the center of the screen. We can do it with the Align panel, but for now, I am just moving it manually. You can change its font size. You can also change its color. Let's make it some dark red. Once you type something, After Effects will immediately open this paragraph panel, as you can also make paragraph text in After Effects. We will discuss more about text later. Now I am going to animate scale property. So expand the layer property. We can scale text using this scale property. If you notice, our text is scaling from the left lower corner because its anchor point is located here. You can use pan behind tool to move it and hold down Ctrl key while start moving to snap it correctly. And now it will scale from the center. I am going to set it to lower left corner again. Now let's add keyframe for scale property by clicking on this stopwatch. On first keyframe, set its value to 0 as I want to appear it from nothing. Now move playhead to the next position, say 1 second, and set value to 100 again. It will animate something like this. It's very slow and boring. Let me zoom my timeline by dragging this bar so that we can see frame numbers on the timeline. Let's move our last keyframe to the 10th frame so that our animation becomes some fast. Now preview it. It's fine, but still some boring. We can make it interesting by animating it something like bouncy text. So on the last keyframe, let me scale text a bit bigger, say 110. Now move playhead to next 5 frames just by pressing page down 5 times. And again I am going to scale text to the value of 100. What it will do? It will just scale text up to 10th frame and then it will reduce its size to next 5 frames. Let's preview it. Let me add some more details as I like it to animate it something like a spring. So move 5 frames more. Now make text some bigger, say a value of 105. Again move 5 frames and scale it to the original size. Let's preview it. Cool. But I think I should add some more keyframes to make it a perfect bouncy text. So move to 5 frames more and scale it to the value of 102. Again 5 more frames and scale it to the original size, and do the same procedure to make it perfect. Let's preview it by pressing spacebar. Actually, we need not to press spacebar again and again to preview it. We can do it by RAM preview, which we will discuss further. We have a nice animation, but I think it should be some faster. So if we drag one keyframe, it will affect the timing of the next keyframe, and we will have to stretch all keyframes one by one. So what we can do? We can just select all these keyframes and hold Alt on keyboard and drag them. And timings will remain same between the all keyframes and my animation will become some faster. Let's preview it. So we have made a very cool animation. Now I believe that you have a general idea of the keyframes. So in future lessons, we will discuss more about animation. In next lesson, we will make a simple photo gallery animation based on these concepts.